and took apart the transmission. I have it right here in the parts washer. I already gave it 5 minutes of runtime. Looks pretty decent. I'm gonna go ahead and give it another maybe 5-10 minutes. So everything looks good. The overrun, the 4th gear, everything looks new. I mean, I know it's assembled, but I already took it apart. Forward looks good. The pump half looks good. The stator, the other pump half looks great. The direct looks fine. Everything looks like they just, I don't know, maybe they just rebuilt it. I don't know what's wrong with it. Everything looks great. So we're gonna go ahead and give you a parts list. So we're just using standard intermediates, nothing fancy, just high energy stuff. Putting a new reverse band, a new forward band. We're putting on new bushings. The problem with these 4 ladies is bushing problems, so make sure you always replace them. We're doing a D1 recal kit. We're doing accumulator delete for the 3.4.
What's that?
Accumulator delete?
Yeah.
Just gets rid of the accumulators.
Oh, okay.
On the valve body. So you can shift firmer from 2nd to 3rd and 3rd, 4th, whatever. Filter. We'll put in a new harness. It's a Rostra harness. We put in a 36 element sprag. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a China one, or it seems like it's China. It didn't come in a Bohr Wonder packaging, so we'll run it, see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't break the intermediate sprag. Everything else is pretty standard. Just new apply pistons, new overrun and 4th, gasket kit from Precision International. Pretty much everything you need is going to be here. What else is this?
The clutches?
No, it's the snap ring for the intermediate. And these are steels. I mean, it's nothing special. We're not using any different drum. We're not using an aluminum drum. We're not doing anything like that. We're putting a billet input, but I don't have it here. But other than that, it's just a standard rebuild with dual feed mod, some lube mods, and a D1 trans brake.
Alright, so here we go, guys. We're going to install a torrenting bearing in the tail shaft. We're going to rollerize this transmission. I ended up putting a 15,000 shim. This is the reverse band. It's going in there. It's a brand new reverse band. Takes some finessing to get it in there. Going through the reverse piston servo hole to make sure that it's fully seated in its proper position. We're putting the threading ring. We're putting the lower gear train in the reaction carrier where the reverse band bites into. Then we're putting the center support, trying to line it up, make sure that the hole is lined up. The center support bolt hole is lined up with the valve body hole. I turned the output shaft, drops right into place. We're doing the dual feed mod, and I omitted the 2nd sealing ring from the top down. So make sure you guys don't forget to do that if you do the dual feed mod. We're gonna use 4 intermediates. We're not using 5. 4 is fine. We're using a wave plate. So steel clutch all the way up. We're using high energy frictions. We're using 1 TH400 steel, the rest are 480 steels. Now we're gonna put the forward band, or engine braking band, sorry. I forget the correct terminology sometimes. And guys, I know you guys are gonna talk about the case being dirty. It's not dirty, it's just stained. I left it in the hot tank for a good 6 hours and it just won't come out. Okay, so now I'm using the piston servo hole in the valve body to make sure that the band is aligned. Put in the direct drum. We did a 34 element sprag upgrade from, actually it wasn't Bohr Warner, it was from one of those trans supply stores. So we'll see what happens. We're using 6 directs. What I mean by 6 is 6 clutches. So we hear that metal on metal sound, so that means that all the clutches are engaged. We're putting the forward drum now. Same thing, wiggle it and shake it until all the clutches engaged. We're doing just the standard clutch count on the forward drum, nothing special. Forward's always applied, so no need to do anything special. Putting the torrenting bearing on top. We're putting the 4th gear drum. Make sure that the hole aligns with the valve body hole, because you need to put that aluminum bolt through the drum. That's the bolt I'm talking about. I think it's a T45 or something along those lines. So now the overrun drum with the input shaft going in. Make sure you shake it a bit. Make sure it's fully engaged. Alright, make sure to lube it up on the Teflon seals. We put new Teflon seals as well, just did not show it. Lubing up the case when the pump is going to slide in. Just to make sure that the pump O-ring gasket does not get chewed or caught in the case. Make sure it's smooth and drops right in. Alright, so we're going to put the pump to cover gasket. It tells you the orientation it should go. It tells you right there on the gasket up. That side should be facing up towards you if you're building it the same way I am. Make sure to put some lube underneath the gasket so it stays in place. Make sure all the threaded holes are not being covered up by the gasket. So here comes the pump. I'm using a screwdriver to line it up with the case. Giving it a couple of whacks to make sure it slides in. Put new seals on the bolts. Put all the bolts. Make sure they're hand tight before you go at it. And start tightening the bolts in a star-shaped pattern. Tighten them, not too tight. Then torque it with a torque wrench. Obviously, make sure that you torque them. I believe it was 18 foot-pounds. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the seals from the 1-2 piston. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the engagement. I'm already pretty decent at it in terms of checking it without a dial indicator to see the engagement on it. And put the spring, and gonna install the gasket, the cover, all that stuff. Installing the engine braking servo. I forgot to mention that there's a spring that goes underneath there. I just did not show it. And right here through the editing, I'm putting 4 check balls in the case. That's because we're doing a D1 trans brake mod. Putting some goop, assembly goo on the check balls so they don't fall out of place. If for some reason you shake the case, or something happens, somebody bumps into it or something, they stay in place. I installed the gaskets, just lining it up with the selector shaft. Installing the bolts. These are the alignment hole bolts, so make sure you install these first. And they're going to be mostly just 10mm except for the pillow switch. They are 8mm. 8mm as I mentioned. Kind of just wrap them down a little bit, make sure they don't move. Make sure all of the bolts engage before you fully thread them in. This is the lube tube that goes to the lower gear train. Extremely important, please do not miss this tube. You will burn down your transmission. Make sure you put the detent for the selector Again, it's just two 10mm bolts. And if you guys will probably ask me, you guys are gonna notice there is no EPC solenoid or PCS solenoid. I'm not sure what you guys use, but we are doing full line pressure. We're not having variable pressure with the ECU controlling it or anything like that. So when it comes to tuning, all you have to do is just tune the shift scheduling, and we're gonna run 200 psi of line pressure at all times. We did make some modifications so that the line pressure is not too high underneath 2000 RPM or so, but anything above that, it's going to be 200 psi. Again, we're torquing the valve body bolts. I don't remember off the top of my head. I believe it was 10 foot-pounds or maybe less. But yeah, just make sure you don't go over 10, I believe. Going ahead and run the harness. Make sure it goes underneath the lube tube. Go ahead and connect the pillow switch, the solenoids, and then the lockup switch. And the EPC, well, since we deleted it, just put it to the side for now. Gonna go ahead and get a filter, put some lube in there, and just kind of smack it down, make sure it's in there. Put in a cork style gasket, pan gasket. Prefer these over the hardened plastic ones. The other ones always tend to leak, in my opinion, or in my experience. Sometimes whenever you take down your transmission, if you're doing it on the floor, you tend to put a jack underneath the pan. Make sure that the pan is not pushed in, because you will have issues with pump pressure, because there might not be enough clearance between the filter and the bottom of the pan, or in this case the top of the pan. Depends where you're looking at it from. So hit it with a hammer or a mallet or something and push it all the way down where the jack would have been holding the transmission. And at the end, we're just gonna go ahead and put all the pan bolts, and we're done with this transmission.
Hey guys, so I ended up selling Redrum 2.0. I ended up building the transmission and the engine, and somebody came and cashed me out. They saw the video, they wanted the truck, so I went ahead and went to Georgia and bought an old truck. It's 2001, I think, or 2000. It's also 4x4, so we kind of lucked out there when it comes to the transmission, the 480. So I call this truck La Lubis. Some of you guys think. An old man had it. He said he paid $500 for it, and he got me for a couple G's. Pretty clean truck though. 4x4. It's got like 190,000 miles or something like that. 200. I don't even know no more, but this is my truck. We're gonna turbo this truck.
God damn.
What you got right there?
You want a little nuez, little cocoa?
Let me get the cocoa. Yeah, I was showing them the new project.
Man, I love this truck. This is the smoothest.
We told them. I told them.
Truck I ever driven.
I told them that we picked it up in Georgia. And
I did 901 miles back here. Not a hiccup.
So we're gonna mess it up. We're gonna tear it all apart. AC blows cold, so we're not gonna touch that.
Yep. She did like 15 hours straight. No issue. No hiccup. No nothing. Just stop for gas. That was it.
What were you doing in Georgia, sir?
Hey, don't worry about all that.
But yeah.
So what? We gonna leave it stock, or we gonna put buggers on it? I want to leave it stock.
Look, we're gonna leave it like that. With this chrome pieces.
Yep. And this 4-wheel drive burnout.
4-wheel drive burnouts. We're gonna leave it with the steps, and we're gonna drop it with the steps. And do twin turbo or one turbo?
Twin. You gotta do twin.
Twin turbo?
You gotta do twin.
Okay, so
Well, it depends on what motor we put. If we get crazy with the motor, we'll do twin. Where we put a stock box.
yeah,
in.
tell us what you guys want us to do. 427.
Yeah. Comment below.
427.
427 twin turbo pop pound Luby.
What you think?
Or if you want a little
418.
a little sleeper build. Do you want a sleeper build? A little 6.0, a little single turbo, make a little 8-900.
Come
looking
on.
like this. Or you want to go crazy with it? 427.
1200.
1200.
1200.
I don't know, man.
All right, well, let us know what you guys want us to do.
Yeah, comment below. Let us know what you want to do. And we'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. We got a bunch of motors in here we got to use. Peace.